Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to start off by giving all praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai Ba'Shem Rachab Wadash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. And also honor and salutation to those of you who are of the hopeful elect and are out there teaching the word of sincerity and truth. Alright, so I wanted to get into something that I've been thinking about and share the thought. And it's really about I guess politics and the state of America and um, its moral state, its let's say the mental state of the people, and 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 kind of show you through the scriptures how um, certain things, right, and that we can see in the front of us are indicators of the state of this place, right? Um, so let me show you this first. I'm gonna go to this word here. This is the word indicator. It says a thing, especially a trend or fact that indicates the state or level of something, right? And so I've been, of course, we watch the news and we try to keep up with current events. And when you look at, let's say, the presidential race, right? You've got one Kamala Harris, who's running for the Democratic side of the presidency, and then you have one Donald Trump who's running for president on the Republican side. And I watch it, right, and it looks more like the drama of a reality TV show than it does a democracy or a government that is really, let's say, um, trying to iron out who's going to be the next leader of the nation. And I say to myself, we know. Let's go here. Since I'm about to say this, this is what is that? I think it's Isaiah. I think it's Isaiah 10. Right. This is Isaiah 10 and 1. It says, "Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that write grievousness which they have prescribed." Right. So we know that there's nothing that happens, let's say, on the public forum or in the government that they haven't planned. We understand that, right? We can talk about, uh, I did a show on Ordo ab Chao. We can talk about all of those things where how the elites they are, let's say, 10 steps ahead of what their enterprise is going to be. Matter of fact, what is that? What is that? Lie, bed. Let's do it like that. Um, uh, when it is light, they practice it. Something like that. Something like that. Bear with me for a second here. Uh, Upon, is that what I put the first time? Here we go. No, that ain't it. There it is. Mother sucker. I thought I was going crazy for a second. So this is Micah 2 and 1. It says, "Woe unto them that devise iniquity, right, and work evil upon their beds, when the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. Right? Verse 2, and they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. Right? So we know that there's nothing that we see in front of us on TV, or when we listen to the radio, or when we're going on social media, whatever your news outlet is. We know that there's nothing that we see that they haven't been behind the scenes planning for, right? And so when you see, let's say this person, Kamala Harris, and you see this person, Donald Trump, and you see also how the presidency is disrespected, right? Those things are an indicator of the state of this country, right? Um, and so, uh, what I swear, the scriptures escaping me now. I should have wrote them down, but again, these things are indicators of the state of America. It's morale, it's moral compass. What are the people thinking, right? And so what I've been saying is they're using, and I can't prove this, right? But this is just something I'm thinking. They're using this presidential race to measure the mental state of the American people. And what I mean by that, right? You got these two people who are polarizing in nature, right? It's exciting. You got this so-called black woman running for president, right, on one end, and then you got this other guy, this white man running for president, and they're polarizing figures. It's exciting. Trump is this businessman who's shoots from the cuff. He says whatever is on his mind, so he appeals to that side of America. And then you got this woman, so-called black woman, right? And I say that vehemently, so-called black woman on the other side, and she appeals to that side of America, right? But they both say these idiotic things, right? They both say these things that are, let's say, can come back to bite them in the ass later on. Things that are thoughtless, right? And you still have people, even though they hear these thoughtless things that each side are saying, defend them to no end, right? They defend the stupidity of each person. And again, that is an indicator of the state of the people here in America, right? And so I wanted to expand on that, right? And say, I think that um, Kamala is going to win this presidency. And the reason being is because when let's say the moral compass is low, when the morale of the people is low, right? This is where you always have women that are inserted into the leadership role, or a position of authority, as an indicator, right, of the state of that place, right? And the first thing I thought of was Deborah in the book of Judges, right? So when you read through the book of Judges, right, there's this pattern that happens. You have our people who fall away, right, and they, let's say, disobey the law, statutes, and commandments of the Heavenly Father, right? And then we're punished for that disobedience, right, by being put into captivity by some nation, right? Then the Heavenly Father would raise up a judge and deliver us from that nation. And then all the days of that judge's life, we would live righteously. Then when that judge died, we slowly fell back into that wickedness again, or that disobedience again, right? And so when you read through the book of Judges, there's this pattern that's going on, right? And if you go back, even before Judges, I believe it's let me get it right, Joshua, right? Joshua was there when we were being, let's say, delivered out of Egypt, right? Once that generation that saw and witnessed the power of the Heavenly Father was gone, that's what made our people go off. And so when you get to the book of Judges, our relationship with the Heavenly Father is tarnished, right? And this is the state that we're in Judges, right? Even though there's times of righteousness, there's this, you know, let's say lack of understanding of the power of the Heavenly Father, right? And so we continue to go off. We get right while the judge is there, but when the judge is gone, we go off, right? And so Deborah is risen up in that state, right? In that low state of the nation of Israel, Deborah is risen up as a judge. So I want to read a little bit of this just to make the point here. So this is Judges 4:1. It says, "And the children of Israel again did evil in the sight of the Lord when Ehud was dead." Right. So again, once that judge dies, right, we fall back into this state of disobedience. Right. It says, and the Lord sold him, right, into the hand of Jabin, king of Canaan, that reigned in Hazor, the captain of whose host was Sisera, which dwelt in Harosheth of the Gentiles, right? And the children of Israel cried unto the Lord, for he had 900 chariots of iron, and 20 years he mightily oppressed the children of Israel, right? So this is the state that we're in. We're in this low state, right? We're again fall into this another nation, right? And being oppressed by another nation, right? And so the Lord rose someone up. And who did he rise up? It says, and Deborah, a prophetess, a wife of Lepidus, she judged Israel at that time, right? And so the Heavenly Father, right, in sort of a, let's say, in an insulting way, right, raises up this woman to, again, as an indicator of the state that we're in, right? Because in the times of our, which obviously was after this, in our height, right, and the strength of our nation, right, you had one David, right, King David, who ruled with the sword, and then you had King Solomon, who ruled in peace, right? But in those 80 years, the height of our nation, right, who was in control and who was in power? Men were, right? And it was a symbol, or again, an indicator of the strength of the nation, right? But when nations break down, right, you see that women at certain times slip in there and put themselves or get put into positions of authority, right? So she says something else here that I wanted to speak to. Yep. So let's go down here. So I'll read it through. And Deborah, a prophetess, the wife of Lepidus, she judged Israel at that time. And she dwelt under the palm tree of Deborah between Ramah and Bethel and Mount Ephraim. And the children of Israel came up to her for judgment. And she sent and called Barak, the son of Abinoam, out of Kadesh Naphtali, and said unto him, hath not the Lord power of Israel commanded, saying, go and draw toward Mount Tabor, and take with thee 10,000 men of the children of Naphtali and the children of Zebulun? Says here, he says, and I will draw unto thee the river of Kishon, Sisera, the captain of Jabin's army, with his chariots and his multitude, and I will deliver him unto thine hand. Right? And Barak said unto her, if thou wilt go with me, then I will go. But if thou wilt not go with me, then I will not go. And she said, I will surely go with thee, notwithstanding the journey that thou takest shall not be for thine honor. And the Lord shall sell Sisera into the hand of a woman. And Deborah arose and went with Barak to Kadesh. Right, so she was letting me alone. Look, you can come up. I'm gonna go up there with you. But you got to understand, this honor is going to be given to a woman, right? And again, that's an indicator of the state of our people at this time, the state of our nation at this time, right? So there's another example, right? So I wanted to go to this chart here. I use this when I'm reading First and Second Kings, right? Because there's a lot of kings that have the same name on each side. So this is the northern kingdom, kingdom of Israel. This is the southern kingdom, kingdom of Judah. And you'll notice, right? There's a Jehoram here and a Jehoram here, right? So, and then in some cases Jehoaz, the same thing here, right? There's another couple of examples. Joash here, right? So I always use this when I'm reading First and Second Kings, so I can just have a visual example of where I am in history when I'm reading, right? And so you'll notice here, right? Athaliah, who was Ahaziah's mother, had some time to reign in, let's say, the southern kingdom, right? But again, when you let's say chronicle this time, right? I mentioned the strength of Israel, right, underneath the sword of David and the peacetime of Solomon. These 80 years were years of you know how do you say of power, right, and dominion, right, over the whole known world at the time, right? You can go into there's a video on YouTube. I haven't watched it in a little while, but it talks about that Solomon's wealth, if you measured it in today's time, would have been in the trillions of dollars, right? It talks about how he was bought gold every day. He was bought certain amounts of silver every day, and so they measure that his wealth probably was in somewhere what would be known in today's times in the trillions, right? So there was solidarity in that time, right? But then, because Solomon went off, right, and started to worship. Let's go to that. What is that? Uh, let me look at it here, so I don't have to. Just bear with me for a second. Right. I think it's. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. Bear with me for a second. Yeah, let's go right to it. Let's go to what I got over here. I read this. Let's go here. Let's go to First Kings, and then let's go to 11. Okay, this is First Kings 11, and I'm just gonna jump down to 6 right here. Actually, boom. Let's start at 4. Let's start at 4. This is First Kings 11 and 4. For it came to pass when Solomon was old that his wives turned away his heart after other gods, and his heart was not perfect with the Lord his power, as was the heart of David his father. For Solomon went after Ashtoreth, the goddess of the Zidonians, and after Milcom, the abomination of the Ammonites, right? And Solomon did evil in the sight of the Lord, and went not fully after the Lord, as did David his father. Then Solomon built an high place for Chemosh, the abomination of Moab, and the hill that is before Jerusalem, and for Molech, the abomination of the children of Ammon. And likewise did he for all his strange wives, which burnt incense and sacrificed unto their gods. All right. And the Lord was angry with Solomon, because his heart was turned from the Lord power of Israel, which had appeared unto him twice, and had commanded him concerning this thing, that he should not go after other gods, but he kept not that which the Lord commanded. Wherefore the Lord said unto Solomon, for as much as this is done of thee, and thou hast not kept my covenant and my statutes, which I have commanded thee, I will surely rend the kingdom from thee, and will give it to thy servant. Notwithstanding in thy days, I will not do it for David thy father's sake, but I will rend it out of the hand of thy son. Right? Howbeit, I will not rend away all the kingdom, but will give one tribe to thy son, for David my servant's sake, and for Jerusalem's sake, which I have chosen. Right? And so this is where you get, where's that chart at? This is where you get these times, right? This is where you get these times where the kingdom was split in two, right? The tribe of Judah ruled over the southern kingdom, and there were different men um, who ruled over the northern kingdom, right? And so this was, a let's say, a bad time in Israel, right? We didn't have, let's say, a strong monarchy, meaning, or let's say it this way, because the strength of our monarchy came from the relationship with the Heavenly Father, right? So you had Solomon, who went off, right, who was the last strength of the monarchy, right, and when the nation was in solidarity, right. Again, you had some righteous kings here on this southern kingdom side, uh, but the strength of the monarchy was when the whole nation was together, right. So you can mark this time in Israel as a low state, right, and when you're in this low state, you had this woman here, Athaliah, who rose up, right? Let's see, hear what she did in this time, right? So this is a Second Kings 11 and 1, right? Just read a little bit of this. It says, and when Athaliah, the mother of Ahaziah, saw that her son was dead, she arose and destroyed all the seed royal, right? So as the promise was to Solomon, right? It was said that the son to the son to the son to the son is how the monarchy would progress, right? It was promised to David in that way, right? So what did she do when she caught wind that her son had died? She killed all of the royal seed, or attempted to kill uh, all the royal seed um, that was left, right? Because she had her son Ahaziah, but um, their father, let's go back to that chart, or his father, Jehoram, had other sons, right? Ahaziah wasn't his only son. And so she went about trying to kill them all, right? So that she can take the place of royalty, or to be set up as the queen, right? And have the power or dominion, right? And this is what she did. All right, so let's keep going. It says, but Jehoshaphat, the daughter of King Joram, sister of Ahaziah, took Joash, the son of Ahaziah, and stole him from among the king's sons which were slain, and they hid him, even him and his nurse, in the bedchamber from Athaliah, so that he was not slain. And he was with her hid in the house of the Lord 6 years, and Athaliah did reign over the land, right? So she reigned, right? So she, again, this can only happen in this poor state, this low state. The morale was low amongst the people. There was a lot of wickedness going on. People were leaving the land. We were being conquered. We were being attacked on all sides, right? So this was a low state for the people, right? And again, she reigned, right? Now I had this story that I had thought of. Maybe I'll pull it up. You can go into it, right? This is the story. I pulled it up, but I'll just speak to it. I don't want to just because it's not related to the scriptures. I won't pull it up, but if you're familiar with any of the stories from what they call medieval times, there's one Joan of Arc who also took over. Let's say in France. Well, she didn't take over. I want to say she took over, but she was put in a position of authority. Right. When you go into the history, France was in this 100-year war, and she convinced the king at the time that she was a prophet, and she was the archangel Michael was dealing directly with her, and so he sent her to one of these battles, and they ended up winning. And so if you know the story, you know what I'm talking about. But again, the state of France at that time was a weakened state, right? There was civil war going on in France, right? And so the state of the nation was weak, and in that state, right, the indicator of that is a woman being placed in a position of authority, right? And so I also have here Judith to speak to that too a little bit. This is Judith 8, and I'm gonna read through, but I wanna pick a good spot here. Right. Let me start right here at 9. So, Judith, just to give you a little backstory, Judith, her husband died, and she was held in high regard in Israel, right? It says, she fasted all the days of her life, except for, the Sabbaths and the high holy days. Um, but in this time, we were getting ready to be attacked by Holofernes, right? And there was, let's say, doubt in the men that were in authority, right? And she basically she told them, like, look, y'all are being weak. Is basically what she told them, right? You got to have faith in the Heavenly Father. But in this state, of course, right, she had to be put in a position of authority, and she, as we know, as the story ensues, that she handled business. Right. So we'll go here to 9th verse just to read a little bit of this. It says, this is Judith, I think it's 8. Yeah, 8 and 9. It says, now when she heard the evil words of the people against the governor, that they fainted for lack of water, for Judith had heard all the words that Ozias had spoken unto them, and that he had sworn to deliver the city unto the Assyrians after 5 days. Then she sent her waiting woman, that had the government of all things that she had, to call Ozias and Chabris and Charmis, the ancients of the city. And they came unto her, and she said unto them, hear me now, O ye governors of the inhabitants of Bethulia, for your words that ye have spoken before the people this day are not right, touching this oath which he hath made and pronounced between the Most High and you, and hath promised to deliver the city to our enemies, unless within these days the Lord turn to help you. And now who are ye that have tempted the Most High this day, and stand instead of the Most High among the children of men? And now try the Lord Almighty, but ye shall never know anything. For ye cannot find the depth of the heart of man, neither can ye perceive the things that he thinketh. Then how can ye search out the Most High that hath made all these things, and know his mind, or comprehend his purpose? Nay, my brethren, provoke not the Lord our power to anger. For if he will not help us within these 5 days, he hath power to defend us when he will, even every day, or to destroy us before our enemies, right? So she was basically telling him, you about to, give us away to our enemies because you feel like the Lord ain't helping you as in the way you want him to help you, right? But you got to have faith that the Lord is going to do what he's going to do, right? So again, here's a woman being put in a position of authority because of the state of her nation, right? And so I say all of that to say I think that Kamala is going to be put in the presidency, right? We are. I say we loosely. I'm saying we as in America, but America is in a weakened state, right? The economy is suffering, right? The morale of the military is weakened, right? Our military is spread thin, right? We're all over the place in these different areas, fighting these different skirmishes, right? And so because of that, right, I think this is the perfect time for a woman to be put into the presidency, right? Now, again, I can't prove that, but this is just what I've been thinking about, right? What would be the greatest indicator of the uh, let's say the let's say the leading into the destruction of America than for a woman to be in power of it before it's destroyed, right? So that's it. Hopefully that was edifying. As always, I want to give praises to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai Bashem Rachach. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who rule well, and honor salutations to the elect. With that, I say shalom.